AI is often seen as a threat.
Experts say that 80% of the tasks is going to get automated in the next couple of years by 2027.
What skills do you think are missing in today's accountants?
I could see people coming at the age of 75 to learn AI. Can you think?
Oh, wow.
And why blockchain is becoming so popular? Because of its security reasons, because of its reliability.
How important is communication and storytelling with accounting?
Like a painter takes a brush and paints a wonderful picture on a canvas which was white for us. Similarly, is that you can play around the data to make a picturization. Is our young generation following this trend? Are they stepping into that opportunity and scaling up?
Hello everyone and welcome to Beyond the Books, the very first podcast by dattakunduandassociates. I'm Alina, your host for today, and in this series, we explore how the role of accountants is evolving in today's rapidly changing business landscape, mainly shaped by new technologies, emerging regulations, and an increasing need for strategic insight beyond traditional compliance. Joining us today is Mr. Amitabh Ghosh, an expert advisor, Audit and Assurance at dattakunduandassociates. He is a chartered accountant and a licensed US CPA with over 20 years of experience in the global accounting and auditing domain. Mr. Ghosh will be sharing his perspectives on how the profession is adapting, what these changes mean for businesses and professionals alike. So, Mr. Ghosh, a very warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Elenia, for the warm welcome and making me a part of the first podcast series from Dattakundu and Associates. I'm delighted to be part of this event, and definitely I'll try to share my insights around how the accounting profession is evolving and adding value to the new age accountants.
So, I would like to begin today's podcast by asking you this first question, which is very essential to today's landscape. AI is often seen as a threat, but how do you think it's actually augmenting accountants rather than replacing them?
Right. So I think this is perhaps the question that is going all across the globe. Buzz of the town, I'll say. And interestingly, instead of saying a yes or no, I'll just take some examples might be that would help us to understand. So if we reflect back to history, taking the human civilization, so you'll see that whenever the human race has progressed or developed, one thing has remained constant, that is the change. So change is something that people have to embrace. It causes a lot of difficulty. So think of a time when basically computers came into picture, and I was at that time in schools, and everywhere there was a buzz that people are going to lose their jobs, people at the banks, computerization is happening, but eventually it reshaped things, right? So if we now take into consideration artificial intelligence, right, the same thing is happening, right? So it's not something that is going to take away your jobs. What is required for us to do is that we need to develop a AI mindset. We need to equip ourselves into the artificial intelligence technologies, the different mechanisms which are coming up, so that we can take advantage of that. So basically, I think the challenge will come up if somebody is not riding the tide. If somebody keeps away from this basic development, definitely they are going to lose track to people who are getting more equipped to AI. So it's more important that we take AI as a tool to empower ourselves, and definitely from an accounting standpoint, I'll say for the accountants, it is a grand opportunity for them because it will help them to go beyond the mundane tasks of like financial reporting and compliance and give them a place to do strategic decisions. So I think they should take this as more of an opportunity rather than as a threat or a challenge.
Right. It's a facilitator. It's not competition.
Right.
You need to adapt it. Right. Continuing on to this topic, what tasks do you think will get automated in the coming years using AI?
I think, the experts say that 80% of the tasks is going to get automated in the next couple of years by 2027. But before we try to hear this, let us see how the journey would be. Like, generally, we have been accustomed with a lot of works which are task-driven, repetitive work, might be reconciliation, might be tie-out, or there might be basic compliance tasks. So these tasks generally, which was like done by manual intervention, is something now AI is taking, right? So these are the tasks definitely is going to take away from the manual intervention and will get automated. And that is the thing, I think that will shape up more space for more strategic work for even people to work upon who might be doing these mundane tasks in the recent past.
So, how important do you think AI literacy is for junior accountants that are entering the space today?
I think this is absolutely necessary, non-negotiable thing, because I say it because see, when something is changing and in the entire world is somewhere getting engrossed in that, you cannot be away from that tide, right? You will be left out, to be very honest.
Yeah.
Your growth will get somewhere stagnated to a level. And as human beings, we do not want that. So the solution is that somewhere at any level, I not specifically say about young accountants, even people at a senior level. And I'll honestly share with you a perspective. Recently, I was a part of a AI conference which was conducted by ICI. I could see people coming at the age of 75 to learn AI. Can you think?
Oh, wow.
So it's not about young accountants only. It's a metamorphosis process where every people who are in this profession is required to use that technology to their advantage. And specifically young people who definitely need that because it's reshaping their careers.
Yeah, if people in their 70s are adapting this,
Right,
young
absolutely.
people should too.
True.
As you've discussed so far, automation sounds very powerful,
Right.
but where do you think firms should be cautious regarding this?
Right. So I think the first and foremost thing is that when we think of artificial intelligence, it gives a idea that a lot of things will magically change, right? But it is not such like that a case, because if you see businesses, they are different in scales. Some are small, some medium, some large. And their capital allocation, their ability to finance things also varies. So the most important thing is that first you gauge how much you can go. See about how your existing systems are. Are you capable of implementing that system? Is your manpower ready? Is your workforce resistant to that change? I think these things are very much necessary to be first taken into consideration before you think of totally changing a process by leveraging AI. It might be in small pieces, but it has to be introduced. But before introducing the same, it's very important that you judge where you stand and then take the next step.
Basically, firms should be assessing their competence
Right.
in that regard.
I think it's more like the strength analysis and the weaknesses that exist,
Yes.
right? And thereafter, they can take that decision. Okay, fine, this is the stage where we can go into the AI adoption, right?
Yeah.
But it is definitely non-negotiable. They have to introduce that.
Yeah.
But in how, that will vary from one business to the other.
The level
Yes,
of
absolutely.
accomplishing this.
Right.
How has data analytics changed how financial decisions are made in the past 5 years?
Right. So I'll answer this question, to sharing a very interesting fact. I remember that when I was like final year article doing my CA, I was placed into a audit. I'm not saying the name of the client for confidentiality reasons, but I was asked to do a final analytics quickly to find out where are the basic changes which has happened. So I took the balance sheet of the last year, the current year financials, did some work around the Excel and try to find out the variance, because somewhere a senior had told me that if the variance is above 10%, 15%, we should be cautious around. Now, whatever I did was relating to a past data, a historical data, right? So we were looking backwards. But when we think around now, as AI is coming into, it's now more into the forward-looking approach. So as we define analytics, there can be diagnostic as well as descriptive, which is more like going to the back end, to the historical records. But when we think of forward-looking, it comes into the perspective of predictive and prescriptive analytics. So now what I can see is that most of the organizations are involving more into forecasting, more into real-time ongoing monitoring. So these are the things which was not always possible when we did not have AI as our friend, right? So it's more becoming something that we are helping into the analysis with a futuristic vision, not just sticking into the reporting and compliance part. So that's the basic change, I think. Have to have a proactive approach. Right?
Trend forecasting, being visionary, that is what's
Exactly.
important
Absolutely.
in today's day and age.
Yep.
Do you see blockchain and automated audit trails becoming mainstream or staying niche?
To be very honest, see, both blockchain as well as the automated audit trail are concepts which are emerging, growing fast, but still I'll say its application is in the niche projects. But the vision is what I can hear from experts, what I can read from the experts views coming in, within couple of years that would somewhere feature as a part of our mainstream infrastructure, subject to the regulatory acceptance and always the institutional abilities to do so. But interestingly, if we take some examples, like if we take of blockchain, why blockchain is becoming so popular? Because of its security reasons, because of its reliability somewhere down the line. And if we think about big banks like JP Morgan and Standard Chartered, they are laterally doing transactions, billions of transactions using blockchain.
Ooh.
And thinking about automated audit trails, I think the advantage is that of the immutable ledgers, which can be basically result in providing a tamper-proof evidence without the manual intervention, without the settlement risk. So these are the advantages. And I personally feel that the trend how it is going, because if you see blockchain is also getting applied in the field of cryptocurrency, which is something becoming very popular, as well as stable coins. So the idea is somewhere down line, this will become a forefront feature, but there has to be more clear regulations coming into picture to make them accepted, and how the organization, as I said earlier also, the scale varies. How can they adapt it? That would somewhere play the critical role.
What skills do you think are missing in today's accountants?
Now, this I'll say, instead of saying what is missing, let's try to somewhere see that what are the reasons for why there is a buzz of having skills. Now, if you see the job perspective or how the industries now somewhere think when hiring a person, is that they are not thinking like 10-15 years before, when you used to have a contemporary qualification like a BCom or a MCom, or even a higher qualification like might be a chartered accountancy like that, because somewhere down line at a graduation level jobs were also available, right? But now if you see somewhere down the line, the buzz is that how much skilled you are in terms of what are the different types of things you are capable of doing, right? So what is most important, I think, for the young generation to think, because they are having the traditional knowledge, they have to become more vigilant, cautious, aware. Simple example I take, recently there was a free trade agreement signed with India and European Union. And suddenly I could see that the newspapers flashing across that the ACCA qualification is gaining importance, because if the free trade is somewhere going to augment business, there will be more financial dealings and financial reporting. And naturally, IFRS reporting will play a very critical role. So the question is that, is our young generation following this trend? Are they stepping into that opportunity and scaling up too? So if I said to list a number of things or skills, definitely how the things are evolving now, you have to become tech savvy. You have to somewhere become proficient with AI. You have to know a bit around cloud computing techniques. What are the different types of accounting softwares which are being applied? QuickBooks, Xero, some about idea. You may not become a data scientist or a data engineer when I say about AI, but at least what is the application of AI in the accounting domain? That has to be there. So I think these are the skills which you need to develop and evolve, because now the industries generally try to see is that how you are ready for it, because every industry and in every enterprises, they have their own learning and development program.
Right.
They are going to hire someone and train them for 15 days, 1 month, whatever it is. But what they see in the interview is that, are you knowing at least the concept of a Tableau or a Power BI? If they throw you a question, in our days we were given the favorite question, do you know VLOOKUP? But that is changing. No one asks for VLOOKUP. They ask, are you knowing the AI-enabled tools? And they do not expect you to be expert at that moment. They just want you to have that idea so that you can leverage upon on when you join the organization. So I think that's in a nutshell how I want the young generation to look forward to.
They want you to be more open-minded, willing to learn.
Right.
It's not just about educational qualification anymore. It's about skill building and learning to adapt with the coming
And
times.
interestingly, one of my seniors said is in one of the big firms, he said that, in today's world, the only limitation is your own bandwidth. And that's a great line.
Yeah.
You see, it's your own bandwidth. You can work up to 2 o'clock in the night.
Yeah.
Or if you feel you can sleep at 9 p.m. in the night, the decision is yours. But somebody who is investing that extra time, extra efforts, gaining that extra skill, he is going to somewhere move ahead than you.
Yeah.
That's normal. That's the competitive world, how things are taken into care.
You should be willing to push yourselves.
Yes, absolutely.
Can junior accountants really influence strategy now, or is that still limited to the senior roles?
So I think this is something very interesting. If you traditionally see, we used to see always is the age that defined the next level promotion. I mean to say is that the seniority.
Yes.
But if you see now, in most of global MNCs and Big Fours, it is performance-based recognition. So the answer perhaps is, if somebody is having the hunger to learn, if he's showing that maturity, ability to adapt quickly, age is just a number.
Right.
You have to show that strategic ability that you have, even if you do not have that number of years of experience, you are able to provide a solution to that problem instantly. So I personally feel that the way how it has been structured now, it's no more going to be somewhere these that you have to be a certain number of years in a designation, then only your promotion will happen. And that is really not happening. And since this is somewhere promotion is now performance driven, there is also dissatisfaction among many people. But
Right.
that's the normal thing, because when competition will be intense, think of the Indian cricket team. In every position, there are 2-3 players. You miss one opportunity, there is a pipeline of 2 players to come down. And this is happening, right? We have 2 T20 teams and 2 one-day teams perhaps.
Yeah.
That is going to be the replica in our professional world also, given the competition.
It's not about age, it's how much and what you bring to the table.
Exactly, absolutely.
How important is communication and storytelling with accounting?
So I think this is significantly a big influencer, and especially in any field you go. In a personal life, we see that when you are expected to communicate timely and you are not communicating that would definitely lead to some dissatisfaction. Now, coming to a business world, and especially when we are dealing with financial data, where there are stakeholders who are expecting you to communicate things at the right time, if the communication is not happening, that is going to have a negative impact. Because if the information is not somewhere given at the right time, it will become a stale information. But the big question is that who be the drivers of this communication? Definitely the tone at the top. The culture that they bring in the table at the top is the juniors are going to follow. You cannot expect your juniors to do something where seniors are not doing that. Right? So perhaps communication is significantly important from a financial standpoint or percolating financial information, because a lot of stakeholders, not only the shareholders, I'm saying, there are a lot of people who are the regulators, there are normal people who are doing trade with the company, and they want that information to come at the right time. Coming about the aspect of storytelling, I think this is a very nice word that has come up in today's context, because it brings life to data.
Yes.
And personally, from my experience, I have a passion of teaching. So somewhere I teach subjects relating to finance in a college, in an MBA college. And I was given the responsibility to teach them audit. So the first day, half of the class was absent.
Oh.
So I said, why? I inquired. So this audit study is super boring. And I then had to make them explain that, see, it is because the way the course was structured in our days of graduation, perhaps this was only theoretical. But I have to make it interesting. If you just join one class, I'll try to make it interesting. And I started try to discuss case studies, try to use a whiteboard with a lot of presentation diagrams.
Nice.
Things change. So what we got to know here is that whenever we share data with a visual effect, now in today's world, we are using dashboards, we are using Power BI, we are using Tableau somewhere to make more attractive reports. It gives a soothing effect to the eyes. It gives somewhere, the eyes become brightened when they see something pictorial. Even if you see simple graphs, you're trying to track your performance over last 10 months. You have a budget. Against that, you have the actuals. If somebody tells you, okay, 20,000 against that 10,000, it doesn't excite you. But when you see the bar graphs, you see somewhere a trend analysis. This gives a different impact. So I think both communication and visualization in today's business world, and especially while dealing with financial data, is becoming utmost important.
So for people to process financial data
Yes.
better, we need to visualize.
Right. And more importantly, see, there are a lot of people who are also not from the finance background. They want things to be simplified. They want actually to get actionable insights from a dull data.
Right.
Right. So how that is possible? It's only possible. You can only excite people when you are adding charm to the data.
Right.
And when you add charm to the data, how can you do it? Like a painter takes a brush and paints a wonderful picture on a canvas which was white for us. Similarly, is that you can play around the data to make a picturization which becomes soothing to the eyes. I think that's the context of visualization is all about.
It's very essential to financial literacy so people can process it better.
Absolutely.
What does data stewardship mean in practice for modern finance?
Now, this is again, when we use the word stewardship, right? This is something very coming up in recent times with so much technological changes and things coming up. So it's about, like, if I say, it's acting as a custodian of both the financial and non-financial data. But what does it mean? It means that we as accountants are no longer getting fixed to only ensuring that my compliance and reporting is fine. No, we have to ensure that the data, the information that is helping us to do the entire process is my core asset. So I have to take that somewhere efforts to see that the data quality is ensured, there is proper data security, and the information is actually in a usable form to help in the decision-making process. So it is just going beyond the normal tasks. So we are as accountants, as somewhere acting now as a custodian of both the financial as well as non-financial data. Right. So that is all about stewardship, according to me, I think.
Agile accounting borrows ideas from tech. So how realistic is this for traditional financial teams?
So firstly is that to understand, right, agility is something we define in the context of how adaptable we are. Now, why is this concept of agile accounting now coming to picture in recent times? It's because things are evolving very fast. You cannot remain isolated from the technological development. So accounting has to go in hands with technology. And agile accounting is something which draws inspiration from the technologies. How? A simple example, we generally define sprints. Sprints mean small goals, you can say. Like previously, I've seen that budgets were may be made on a yearly basis, on a monthly basis. But these budgets of monthly now are broken down into weekly, which are smaller sprints, right? At the same time, there are happening cross-functional teams collaboration. There is real-time monitoring of data. This is agility. You are not sitting with the data. Right. You are continuously somewhere evaluating and monitoring it to make it remain usable. So that is the concept of agile accounting. These are very new concepts, and I think this will somewhere take some time for people to embrace, but definitely these are the things which are now talk of the town.
So this is all for today. This was part 1. Stay tuned and we'll be releasing part 2 very soon.